Hello, business owners and my fellow citizens and my customers and my prospective customers. My name is Daryl Guberman. I'm the CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. We've been in business for 11 years, assisting companies in consultation, also ISO certification, all derivatives. Business owners, I am very proud at this moment because I'm going to be reading you the letters that my customers submitted to ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, because back in June I saw that they were accepting applications for nomination. I was proud of that moment. I was proud of the fact that, out of several that I sent, 16 sent. I wish I could have sent it out to all of my customers, but I sent out enough so that I got a very nice percentage back, and I really appreciate those who put letters in, like Rich and Matt and Sam and Val and Ralph and Walt and Joe and Kelly and Jackie and Jim M and Jack and Mr. F and Joe and Jim and Walt J and Lorraine and Mark. Yes, I put in a 54-page. I put in a 54-page document to ANSI. I'm sure they never received this in their life ever. And the thing about it is, business owners and my fellow citizens, is that they gave me a 9-questionnaire deal to do. What it is that Daryl Guberman can bring into ANSI to further their progress, to make them take that next step. And I, being the outsider, since I'm not an ANSI member, I thought that that would be a great ideal. I have a lot of ideas that I could have shared with and still could share with Joe Bathia and its board. But this questionnaire, at the end, this is what was said. The committee appreciates your interest in serving in an ANSI leadership position and your willingness to provide us this additional information. Sincerely, Russ Chaney. Now, Russ Chaney, I will say this. Russ Chaney, there it is, Russ Chaney is the nomination chairman. In 2019, I put out a video concerning A2LA, which is a accreditation body for laboratory accreditation, and that they sit on ANSI's board. And Ashley Morton wrote back to me, and she said that A2LA and ANSI are two separate accreditation bodies unto themselves, and they don't sit, A2LA does not sit on ANSI's board. Well, I did show her this in the very first video and the second video, and they also sat, at the time, the IAF was controlled by a communist national who was handed over leadership of the IAF, which is incorporated in Delaware, in 2015, and he was there from 2015 to 2021. He has also been involved with our quality since 1994. He is also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services, which you can have. I've showed you in many videos. He's standing there. You'll find him down below. He's standing there in Wuhan in the bio lab, level 4 virology lab that was suspect in the release of the COVID-19 virus. You also have Pamela Sale, the vice president of ANSI ANAB, she's the vice president of laboratory accreditation, state under deposition that that from one laboratory to another, they don't do protocols. Their protocols are out of control, yet they still issue an ISO 17025 or other 1700 derivative for laboratory accreditation. This video is letters to ANSI nomination committee and Russ Chaney, chairman, prove their sham. I'm going to read you a letter that one of my customers submitted to Eleni Konstantopoulos. Eleni is an individual there at ANSI. She's not a board member. She is an employee, and her title is Senior Program Manager, Legal Affairs, American National Standards Institute. So let me read you this. Dear Ms. Konstantopoulos, my name is Rich. A quality professional for over 40 years, I have known Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, for 52 years. He has asked me to craft a nomination letter to the ANSI Board 2022. I read ANSI's requirements for nomination, find in Daryl's case ANSI's membership as a prerequisite should be removed. The addition to ANSI's board and subsequent acceptance of Daryl would benefit all who meet him and the representation of Daryl as an ANSI member. Daryl, over the years, has shown me his press releases and videos exposing quality control. This information he showed me devastates so many industries and blackens the eye of those that maintain a quality certificate with his competition. Daryl showed me his videotaped speech from ASQ in 2013 where he spoke about quality being out of control. The most important part of the speech was when a senior member, Region 3 Director of ANAB said, "Mr. Guberman, accredited or unaccredited, ANAB has no problem with what you're doing. In fact, ANAB supports you, sir." How fantastic that was that you had a major accreditation body support Daryl and his company. I couldn't believe what transpired over time. Daryl's company would get called Certificate Mill, unofficial by a guy who lived in Florida that apparently had ties to ASQ ANAB. Daryl showed me a letter from a senior manager of ANAB that said concerning this guy in Florida, phrases like, "He is the overseer of accredited certification. I know him best. He is a force to be reckoned with." It was apparent to me the Region 3 director never passed his approval up the chain of command concerning Daryl. He also had his customer question his certification. They would say, "It's not ANAB accredited yet." The Region 3 director approved Daryl's business to certify companies in 2013. Daryl also showed me a letter from Lockheed Martin, 2015, where you had a member of its management state Lockheed only accepts IAF-recognized accreditation bodies. To my surprise, Daryl showed me that Lockheed sat via the IAQG, which for those of you who don't know that, it's the International Aerospace Quality Group, on the IAF, which is incorporated in Delaware, the International Accreditation Forum, which had been handed over to the Chinese Communist Party in 2015. They are an associate member, which meant, Lockheed is an associate member, which meant they could vote on policies. Lockheed also sits on ANSI's board as well by their accreditation body, ANAB. Daryl was quite methodical when it came to the sequence of events concerning the sale of Sikorsky aircraft in 2015. Lockheed Martin sits on ANSI's board and IAF. Hacked by China in 2009, taking the F-35 information, number one. Number two, a division of United Technology, 2012, sits on ANSI's board. Sikorsky gets hacked by China. In number three, 2015, Lockheed, with approval of the China Communist Party, who is an international regulator, purchases Sikorsky for $9 billion. Daryl showed to me 3 bullet points about quality and it being out of control. He showed me on the ISO website concerning unaccredited and accredited certification also the variations in surveillance and recertification audits that I saw firsthand being a QC manager in aerospace and other industries, where you would get a minor corrective action from one registrar, and then for the same discrepancy, another registrar, it would be written up as a major finding. Daryl would be a worthwhile addition to your organization. His wealth of knowledge, expertise, integrity would add to the progress of ANSI and the adequate checks and balances required for a myriad of industries. I just don't say this as a 5-decade friend of Daryl's. I say this as a quality professional who has witnessed the issues that Daryl has had the courage to bring forward. His is the voice of reason. I do wish ANSI has the sense to bring him on board. He is a person passionate about quality and shall benefit your board. Please do not let Daryl Guberman's nomination be taken without care and consideration. He would be the best decision ANSI has made in decades. I firmly and assuredly attest to his abilities, knowledge, expertise, and his personality. He will make ANSI shine in all areas and those who meet him. P.S. With the close ties that exist and existed in 2015 when China was handed leadership of the IAF incorporated in the U.S., as I said to Daryl, and he used my verbiage, it is not hacking, it is giving our data away. Sincerely, Rich. And this is what happened. Russ Chaney, I told you in 2019, he left a voicemail after I exposed the factor of A2LA and ANSI. And this is the nominating chairman. And I submitted that in. You've heard Rich's letter of reference. And this is what Russ Chaney. I guess this is the mantra for his board, ANSI's membership, and let's listen.
Benny, please leave a message and I'll return your call as soon as possible. Record your... Half of that fuck. Half of that fuck. Half of that fuck.
Yes, and the worst part about it too is Jameson Carroll, who received my letter and the audio tape. And here he is, ANSI's lawyer. Worst part again is, if I remember correctly, he is a veteran. And for you veterans out there, I know how proud of America you are. You put your behinds on the line, or as I say, your tuchus on the line, your tuchuses. And I thank you for your service. But for this gentleman here, listen to what he replied to me. And you veterans out there, who I respect and admire and honor. My dad was a veteran from the Air Force, United States Air Force. My fatherly figure out there in New York was a missile man at Whiteman Air Force Base in the mid 60s, and who I admire, who I love. He's like a father to me. I want you to read what this guy said about what Russ Chaney said to me. And he has, and I'll gladly send you the letter of his response, but this came right out of his letter. And I want you to hear Russ Chaney's.
This is Russ. Leave a message and I'll return your call as soon as possible. Half of that fuck. Half of that fuck. Half of that fuck.
Yes, Jameson, he did say half a nut fuck you, without a doubt. I played this already in many videos, and you know something? The emails and telephone calls that I've got say, what's wrong with that guy Jameson Carroll? Why is he protecting Russ Chaney? And why is Joe Bathia protecting Russ Chaney? Business owners, the worst part too, and the last thing I want to show you, and I will gladly, this has been intertwined in other videos, is that during this time, ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018, but they sat on the IAF, run by Communist China, between 2015 and 2021. The worst problem, too, is that you have Pakistan on board who harbored Osama bin Laden. So between half a nut fuck you that Russ Chaney said as ANSI's mantra, it appears, between them being associated with Pakistan, who, as you know, Osama bin Laden was the mastermind that killed 3,000 Americans. What does that say about the lawyer who I think was a veteran? What does that say? Business owners, I do this because I love this country. I was asked to join in 2013. You can find it in other videos. You had a Region 3 director say, Daryl, ANAB has no problem with what you do. We support you, sir. And at that time, ASQ owned ANAB 50%. In 2016, I get a letter from Randy Doherty, the technical advisor for ANAB, and he sat as a principal on the IAF 990 tax form, and he was the other percentage. So you had 100% saying, Daryl and Randy invited me to either join the IAF or ANAB or both. I could not do that. Communist China was ever present. Every federal agency that sits on ANSI's board, and ANSI, as you saw, sat on the IAF, has been hacked by China. This is a cyber security hazard, and it has been. They've taken our data. Too close alliances. I leave it here, business owners. I thank you, Rich, again, for that wonderful letter. My telephone number is 203-556-1493. And or Daryl TQRS@yahoo.com. And for those of you who want to know why I do this, it comes from Thomas Paine. I love the man who can smile in trouble, who can gather strength from distress and grow brave by reflection. 'Tis the business of little minds to shrink, and he whose heart is firm and conscience approves his conduct shall pursue his principles unto death. Thomas Paine. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, fellow business owners, my customers, and most importantly, everyone who is watching this video. I thank you.